3.
What's up, everybody? This is Travis from Duel Humor, coming at you with another deck profile. Today we have for you Dragon Link. Yeah, I know a lot of you are skeptical, and you're probably right. This deck's not that great, but it is a whole lot of fun. Every time you'll be drawing for your phase, you'll be saying, draw, Dragonet, Ash Blossom. That happens every time. It's almost guaranteed that if you have Dragonet in your hand, it requires your opponent to search their deck, find an Ash, and use it. But we do not run Signet mining, and I'll explain why. Let's get into the profile here. Starting off, we have this little rascal, Dragonet. We run 3 of this card. This is a great opener for a normal summon. It's a nice way to bait out some negations, but it is not my favorite way to start combos in this deck because if it does get negated, you are not actually allowed to go into your Link 1s, which you do want to do. So even though this card is in here, it is not required. But it is great because Ib is absolutely broken, I do have to say. To round it off, we run the Galaxy Serpent, and of course the little pup playing with his tennis ball. This card is pretty great. Actually, people forget that it's a hand trap if they target a Link monster. Also, if you do draw this, it is not a brick. Like, please don't believe it is a brick. Pitch it off one of your card effects. Normal summon it and summon, summon Stryker Dragon off of it. Like, just get it in the grave any means you can. Moving on, we're going to get into the Revolver section. Rokket Tracer. So, this card, you will actually be summoning really frequently. It's why we run 3. It is a level 4 tuner, and you destroy a card on your side of the field as a quick effect and summon another Rokket from deck. And we have a myriad of different levels of Rockets in the deck, but the main thing you'll be summoning is the Magna Rokket.
Magna Rokket. Ooh. Wait, before you take away Tracer, you ever notice how it looks like a dick? Alright, just keep going. Never mind me, guys.
I mean, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! And
so everything's shaped like that.
Very phallic. This is a phallic
I mean, if you guys want to see how it looks, how it really looks,
now it's going to be hard to not see that when I see these cards, especially this next one.
Oh shit!
He's a very happy Silver Rokket Dragon. This card is incredible. So let me explain these two. These are the main cards that you'll be summoning off Rokket Tracer, and I do have 2 Magna Rockets. Some people might not agree with that, but I do have 2 because I like to at least summon one, and if I do draw one, I still like to summon it because its effect is pretty relevant. When it's targeted by a Link monster, target a monster on the field and send it to the graveyard. That is a quick effect. So you can summon this while you have your Borrel monster out, and you can target it. So say you have Borrel load, while you target it, make its attack decrease by 500, its effect triggers. So you send a monster, just like Dingirsu, then this card is destroyed, and in the end phase, you can summon a different one from your deck. So then, I like to go into Silver Rokket Dragon. Sometimes this is actually a better card to go into first, and if you are able, do this first, because it allows you to check your opponent's extra deck when it is targeted, and then you get to banish a target. Say you're going into game 2, summon this first, target it, send their Super Poly targets. Now you can't be Super Polyed.
Ooh, that's nice.
Quick thinking. Bam! Moving on. Auto Rokket Dragon. This is for spell and traps. Targets and sends. Does not destroy. So, and this one is also a great effect to float into, just as an option. Instead of the monster, you can summon a spell and trap removal instead. Allows you to be a little bit more versatile and also play going second, which is very essential. Speaking of going second, we have one of the best starters for going second in tandem with this other card, Absorouter Dragon. So I'll explain this interaction a little bit. You will send this card to the graveyard quite frequently because when it does hit the graveyard, when you either link off with it, send it with Dragon Ravine Foolish, or, however you're going to send it, Dragon Shrine, when it's sent, hits the graveyard, you can search a Rokket monster. I usually search Rokket Tracer, because when you get the field spell, you can summon 2 Rockets from hand. This card, on the other hand, when you normal summon it, you can, I believe, special summon a level 7, a level 5 or higher dragon monster in your graveyard. So, normal summon this, summon back your Absorouter. That's a level 1 tuner, which is how we also get into Ib. And that's how you make your Borrel Savage. So that's if you haven't used your normal summon. Use your normal summon, like, it's like almost the first thing you do sometimes. So, but, you know, it's a prime target for negation, so, you know, just be aware. Moving on, what I think makes this deck very powerful is the Chaos Dragon Levianeer.
Levianeer.
What
Gorgeous
a versatile card. What an amazing support for dragons. Banishes 3 light or dark, and depending upon which or a combination of both, 3 separate effects. If you banish all dark, you get to shuffle a card from your opponent's hand. I believe it's at random.
It's random, I think.
Yeah, it is random. And you shuffle a card in their hand into the deck. So, amazing. You summon this and Diabolos, that's 2 cards out of your opponent's hand, and yes, we are running Diabolos to do just that. Its other effect, if you banish all light, which we do have a limited amount in this deck, but it is still very possible due to your extra deck. 3 light monsters grants you a special summon from your graveyard, which is incredible, especially if you're summoning Darkness Metal Dragon, which is also this guy. This guy allows you to summon 1 from the graveyard. So, you know, it's a way to extend, but if you do get both light and dark, pop 2 cards on the field, which is incredible. Allows you to go second, so you can go through your plays, say you get negated. Well, bam. I slap down this big boy, and I've now been able to destroy 2 cards on the field. So, you have some going second options.
Be aware, guys, that because this is a secret rare and not ultimate, all those effects happen to him, not your opponent.
That's true, that's true. Right now I'm limited, so I don't actually play with this card in real life because of just that. I'm so afraid of my opponent judging my rarity discretion.
He's still waiting to donate his kidney to buy it.
At least they're not commons. Moving on, what I think also makes this deck work that goes along with the Chaos package is Starliege Seyfert. So
Gorgeous
this card
card
is incredible. Its normal summon is basically any combo you want to do in this deck. You can get your baby dragons, your white and black Collapse Serpent and Wyvern Burster respectively. When it's normal summoned, you can send itself and any level to search that same level combined from your deck. So you can normal summon this, send it, search your baby dragon, or normal summon this and send it in another level 4 to search your Chaos Dragon Levianeer. So you can search dragons in this deck.
And it's not limited to like a level 4 lore dragon, or you can search out any dragon, right?
Yep, any dragon. So even if you had a level 1 in your hand, you could send that level 1 from your hand, search your Brotar.
Oh shit, yo, I'm about to search JD with that stuff, man.
You actually could if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But good luck resolving Lightsworn effects.
Good luck playing Lightsworn in 2020.
Another thing is that when this card's in the graveyard, you can banish it to add a level 8 dragon from your graveyard to your hand. So that is your Chaos Dragon Levianeer. It's also a couple other cards that you run in this deck. So really versatile. Sometimes you can either send 1 in your hand, and then also send 1 to the grave if you have Ravine to then banish this, add this to your hand. So it's a lot of ways to different search effects that kind of work in tandem with each other. You have to be really careful about your sequence of events in this deck, but overall it is not limited to just a line of play. You have so many ways to play this deck, so don't think that you only have to do one or the other. They're just very versatile and they work really well in tandem with each other. Also, this is a light monster, so even if you have extra ones, you can pitch it. You don't have to use this effect, but you can recycle your Levianeer, and you could activate 6 Levianeer, I guess, although this is limited to once per turn, so that's not exactly true. Moving on. Oof, this card. Love it while it lasts. We have a ban list dropping any second. It could be dropping right as we're making this video, honestly. But this card, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, deserves to be banned so bad. You can special summon it by banishing a dragon, so even if your card effect gets negated and you have this in hand, banish it anyways, summon it. Because then you can summon a dragon from your graveyard or your hand. So absolutely essential, especially for the Guardragon plays. Next we have Diabolos. I run this like more to be funny. If I'm going to, be playing like a serious game, I would probably side this out game 2 and 3. But it's still really amazing when you're going first in game 1 because you can tribute a dark monster on the field, and I believe your opponent has to place 1 card on either the top or the bottom of their deck.
They get to pick.
Yes, so they get to pick. But you activate this before Levianeer, and they have to shuffle their deck afterwards anyway, so getting shuffled in. But it specials itself when Dark Monster is tributed. We have no way to really do that in this deck, so we raw summon this, and I actually summon it with Red MD pretty frequently. And that's kind of the main way you get it out. You can also summon it maybe from your hands with Saryuja, but you have other targets for that. Next, Tempest, for flexibility, ravine targets, discard outlets, special summon continues, so, you know, you have ways to continue to extend. This deck is extension the deck. A lot of different options. Destrudo, if you're running a Guardragon deck that's not running Destrudo, clearly you don't know how YouTube works and net decking. You don't have to think, there's so many profiles out there for you, just like this one. So, continuing on, run Destrudo. Yeah, Tuner, it summons itself from the graveyard, level 6 or lower, yeah, just look it up, it's a really popular card. Iron Dragon Tamayatin. So this is funny. This was a last-minute addition that I had to this deck, but I wanted options going second, which this card is searchable via Seyfert. This card, when there are 3 cards in a column, you can special summon this to the field and then destroy all the cards in that column, and then that column becomes unusable. You blank an entire column. So it's a really nice way to kind of destroy spell or traps. You can even, like, you know, say you can place your World Legacy Guardragon in a column and maybe like another monster, and I don't know, there are ways to trigger it, but it's more of a flexible utility to get back row decks, which is the bane of this deck's existence. You want options to be able to destroy them, and we have 2 in Tamayatin and Auto Rocket Dragon. So, you know, I would say that this is a really great card to tech in for games 1 or 2, but it's also a side out option. I just run it because I think running 1-ubs in a dragon deck is kind of interesting. Absolutely mandatory in a dragon deck. White and black Collapse Serpent. Banish a light, special summon. When it's sent, search the other. Vice versa for the light one. So banish a dark, special summon. Sends, so yeah. If you draw one, shuffle the other one back in, or if you draw 2, excuse me, shuffle the other one back in with Saryuja. We Saryuja once, every game, at least once. Gateway Dragon. This is another interesting little tech choice of mine, but going along with kind of the Rokket theme, I'm pretty sure that he used this in his deck, is that you can special summon a level 4 lower dragon from your hand. So it's a nice way to extend, and it's a good kind of negation target for your opponent because, you know, they effect veiler it or imperm. Well, now you can just link off and continue with your plays. It's just a nice way to kind of bait stuff out and to also have extensions. You know, you want to get monsters on field. Not absolutely essential either. I just think it's an interesting tech choice. This card, absolutely mandatory. Brotar. On special summon, you get to target a card on the field, discard a card, and add one from your deck to your hand that matches both its attribute and its typing. So you can target itself, and you get to add a Dark Dragon, which is literally your whole deck. So add any card in your deck. You can add Diabolos this way. I would say that between these 2 cards, Red Eyes Darkness Metal and Brotar, these are your 2 targets for your LP play. Sometimes if I draw one or the other, I will search the other, but sometimes this can be more advantageous than Red MD, but you have so many extenders in this deck that's special from grave or special from hand. This is actually kind of a better option just because you can reuse its effect. You can use this effect, I'm not even joking you, 4 to 5 times in a turn. Yeah. They really thought this card through, especially when planning this game, which I don't think they really did. So let's go on to Quick Launch. When this deck first came out, this deck was laughable. This was its only really good support card.
It's only saving grace.
It is a not once per turn, hard once per turn, nothing on it says that. Special summon a Rokket from deck as a quick play. Wow, 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 wow. So, interesting interaction that happens between these 2 cards. Normal summon Rokket Tracer, activate Quick Launch. Rokket Tracer targets Quick Launch to send it to grave, to special from deck, goes to grave, specials from deck, resolves specials from deck. These 2 cards result in 3 monsters. So, really amazing that you can chain this because this card is also a quick effect. So they work really well in tandem with each other, but as you can see, we have so many options to get a different variance of levels and, you know, dragons from deck that this card is also kind of how you get into IB, I would say. Dragonet is entirely necessary as your main line of play to get to Ib, and you don't always have to get into Ib to pull off your combos. They're just so many extenders, ways to special dragons from the deck. They're all lower level, so there's a lot of synergy, and this deck is focused on entirely dragons. Like, I wanted a dragon-themed deck. So, while this may not be optimal, I would still say it's in theme, and definitely run 3 of these. I would run 3 of these in any other sort of Link deck, just because of its special summon capabilities. Next, we run 2 World Legacy Guardragon, not 3 and not 1. So you could run 1 and argue that, okay, well, I'm going to search it with Ib anyways, so I don't want a brick on it. Well, this card's not a brick, because if you do summon any of your lower level dragons, you send them with Stryker Dragon, well, now you have a target to summon. So you have, 3 Link 1s, so there's a lot of ways to just get a dragon in grave first thing. So I would say it's a very versatile card, but you do not want to draw multiples of it because it is once per turn. So, with that said, you like to draw the 1, that way you can search this card, or if you draw this, you can search this. This is an entirely necessary World Legacy Succession, but these are both summons from grave. So, Monster Reborn, a level 4 lower dragon, and then this just Monster Reborns. So this is kind of how you can reuse your Darkness Metal Dragon by searching this out with Ib. This is how you get into your Guardragon plays via Ib. And yeah, this is a really versatile card all around. You can also move monsters in monster zones that are dragons, so this is kind of how you can rearrange your LP so that you can still fulfill its condition to summon. That way you can kind of avoid cards like Ash or anything like that. You can bait your opponent out without wasting your resources. So, very tactile cards. Tactful? Tactical.
Tactical, yeah.
Words. English is my first language, I swear. But succulent. So this card, incredible. You search this off of your Link 1 Booster Dragon, Stryker Dragon, whatever they're calling it now. It used to be called Booster Dragon, but now it's called Stryker Dragon. So, Boot Sector Launch, this is the Rokket field spell. So, this one, even if you draw this card, still amazing. This is what unbricks all of those rockets that we play in this pile here. Because, say you'll draw all these, rocket cards and be like, wow, these are bricks. Well, normal summon one, search this card out, and then you can special all those rockets from your hand. So, it's only up to 2, and its second effect is actually really interesting, is that your opponent controls more monsters than you can. You can actually target the difference in your graveyard and summon them. So
amazing.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, more monsters, special rockets with different names. Up to the difference, yeah. So, really incredible card for going first or second. Drawing it is not bad, but it is preferable to search it because you just want to be effective with your resources. Moving on. Dragon Ravine. A good idea is to go into Stryker Dragon and then link that off into your Romulus to get your Dragon Ravine, and I have a very specific reason why, which I'll explain very shortly. Moving on, we're just going to follow up into these 3 last
Monster
cards.
Reborn and... yeah.
Foolish and Dragon Shrine. We have 2 Foolishes. We want to send dragons to the graveyard. They get effects. They summon from grave. Monster Reborn, run this in every deck.
When is Monster Reborn a bad idea?
Run this in Guru. Literally run this card.
This in everything.
So good. In your Orcus matchup, your first play, Monster Reborn their Dingirsu. So now they have to respond, or you're going to summon their Dingirsu and send a card. It's just amazing. And that's just an initial idea of it. If you really, put all double digits that you have of your brain cells into this Monster Reborn card, it really is versatile, and it's just amazing. If you top deck this card, you win. I'm just saying. It's great extension. This is how you're going to get your Red MD back, too, because Saryuja's going to draw, and you're going to draw into one of your mini Monster Reborns that you have.
Okay, so that's the main deck. 40 cards?
40 cards.
Alright, good.
We run 11 spells and 29 monsters. So, high monster lineup. You're not going to be drawing a lot of spells, but that's not the point, because any 5 cards is ridiculous.
This deck is pure gas.
It's pure gas.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a glass cannon, easy to mess up, easy to interrupt. Everything is ashable. You can get Nibiru'd. I highly, highly recommend running Apollousa. I don't have it in this variant because, like I said, I wanted to stay on theme, but if I were to duel people in real life with this, I 100% would play Apollousa. Like, if you're not playing Apollousa, straight to jail with you. Because you're gonna get Nibiru'd. I'm telling you. Don't be that guy that goes, oh! I mean, unless, unless you're as animated as I am when I duel. I go, it's my turn.
Your turn, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Draw. I summon Stryker Dragon.
Alright, so let's get to the action.
Okay, so Stryker Dragon. This is the Rokket Link that finally came out, but it came out a little too goddamn late. This card makes this deck. This card makes this deck. Like, it makes Dragon Link viable, and it makes it so powerful. All your rockets are not bricks. You summon your boot sector launch upon summon, and then you can also fulfill your rocket effects via its targeting effect because it is a link monster. So you target a monster on the field, destroy it, and summon you add a rocket from graveyard to hand. So you could, if you somehow get your quick launch and then a normal summon of a rocket, you can quick launch out your silver rocket, normal summon your other rocket, get this, boot sector launch, target silver rocket, send one of their extra deck monsters, or banish one of their extra deck cards. Yeah, that's what it does. So, incredible. This is usually the first thing I do. I'm not really entirely focused on Ib, but if I do draw Draconet, I'm going to try to go for it, and then get ashed and proceed to probably immediately scoop.
Scoop
Next.
phase entered. Alright, Guardragons, huh?
The other two Link ones.
Alpi and Pisty.
God, there's so many awkward situations with these cards. Man.
One summons from deck and one summons from graveyard or banished, right?
I mean, there's so many ways to talk about these cards and how ban-worthy they are, and they really are. I would almost say Pisty is probably better than LP. I don't know. It's really hard to say.
Don't get into that debate.
I mean, it's debatable. They're both equally good. Yeah. Let's just say that.
They're both equally cancerous, guys.
So when your Link monster is pointing to a zone that two links are pointing to.
Yeah.
Summon from deck. This one is from grave or banish.
Alright.
Same effect.
Alright, so next card is...
So your link ones, yeah. These you go into really frequently. Next,
Heavenly
Spheres.
Sphere. Compulse on legs.
Compulse.
Exactly.
And it summons from deck, so you can get your Brotar this way. And if you were running Phantasme, you could search a Phantasme during your opponent's turn on their normal summon, which probably is going to end their turn anyway, so it's pointless search. Romulus. Upon summon, just like Stryker Dragon, you get a field spell, you get Dragon Ravine. Now, what I was talking about previously about this very specific interaction that happens, let me try to find it. So, okay, yeah, so you'll get the Dragon Ravine, right? And you've now, you've used Ib, or you've just drawn some way to Monster Reborn, or you've drawn Quick Launch, you've drawn literally any way to special summon a dragon. This card has a second effect that most people do not read, because I think they hear a thing online and they go, this is this card's use, and that's it. So think a little bit more about this effect, and I'll read it to you. It's very interesting. When you special summon a dragon monster, or a winged beast, I believe, to either of the zones that it points to, you can special summon a dragon or winged beast from your hand. So this is also how you can special summon. Yes, this is an extender, and this is that interaction I was talking about where you go Stryker Dragon, search your boot sector launch, you have your second, dragon monster, you link those two into Romulus, you get that in the top extra monster zone, and now when you use your any sort of special summoning effect, you do it to a zone that Romulus points to, you can special summon that secondary monster, link off your level 4 into your LP, and then use that secondary one to get your Pisty, whatever you want to do. I'm just saying that this card has that second effect that's really broken, especially in this deck. So, moving on. Delingerous Dragon. God, there must be so many commons of these sitting in people's bulk, and it's a good card. It's not necessary to run. I would take this out for Appaloosa, honestly, but it's really interesting. When it's in the graveyard and you special summon a rocket monster, you special this from grave. So this is how you can link climb, and it is a link 2. So this easy way to get into your Borrel monsters via this card. Basically, you can link off and you summon this, and then you can send this with Diabolos, which is usually what I do in that chain of events. And then when I special summon my Rocket before I go into my Borrelode Savage, this comes back out, and then I can link whatever's left over. into my Borrel monster, and then using those extra 2 zones. Just as long as you're zone managing, you can then, you know, just use it as link fodder. It's a good card and it's a good extender, so, you know, I think it's really interesting. And then its first effect, once per turn during your opponent's end phase, target an attack position monster your opponent controls that didn't declare an attack and destroy it. Oh. That will never happen to you, to your 1600 monster. Just telling you, that's a little irrelevant. Lambda, generic.
Yeah.
Beat Cop is probably better, honestly. I know that, you know, this is a great link too. The only way, or the only reason I'm actually running it is just because it has high attack points, honestly. And it's a light. But if you're using, you know, your Rokket Tracer, that limits you to dark monsters for the rest of the game. So you won't have a generic link 2 after that to summon via this, you know, via that method, because you can't go into Heavenly Spheres or Romulus, because Romulus is a wind. So, you know, I would say maybe run B-Cop instead of Lambda, but it is an extra light monster for Levianeer, so, you know, figure that out on your own. Don't ask me. You're making me nervous. Triple Burst Dragon. Whoever bought all of these out when this when this structure deck was announced, good job. It did come in the structure deck. That's a common. But I've had mine for like a long time, and this is absolutely necessary. Run this card because its sideways arrow is useful for your Guardragon plays. Its down arrow is useful. Just run it. It also is really great against Stryker because it can't activate effects during the battle phase. Or during the damage step, I mean, excuse me.
Skull Dread.
So
Draw 4.
Draw 4. Reshuffle your hand. And it's a dragon. Run it. Borrel.
Why not?
Avramax out.
Yeah.
I would say run this over Sword.
Blasphemy.
I run both, but you really, really don't need help OTKing in this deck. You have so many high-level monsters, and Borrel is such a good out to cards, and its quick effect is good, but Borrel Sword's quick effect is actually better if you're using it defensively. So, you know, it's just good if you have the Rokket monsters out, because, hey, we're actually using these in the deck as they were intended to, and not just as, like, cheeky generic links. But, you know, hopefully this survives the ban list too. I mean, they're good cards. I just run both because I'm, like I said, running in theme. It's not the most efficient, but these are interesting texts.
Hope Harbinger.
Hope Harbinger, I try to go into this like really often as I can, just to protect my monsters from attack, and also it is a spell and trap negate, and it is how you know, kind of get rid of your Levianeer Diabolos, or you can summon 2 Levianeer and then go into this. So a lot of ways to get into this, and you know, say you have a dead Borrel Savage, even, you can use that, but yeah, I mean, that's not the ideal world I want to live in. Christ. But in the world that I live in, the ban list would have dropped already. I hope you're listening, whoever runs Konami. I don't know your name.
I think it's Crane.
I bet it's Ib, because they've made this card like 5 times on different cards.
Damn.
I run the one, Justice Sar. When it's sent, you summon your little puppy card, and on its summon, you search World Legacy card, so you can get the World Legacy Guardragon, World Legacy Succession. They're both Monster Reborns. Holy shit, this card is not surviving the ban list. If it does, wow, I really need the same drug dealer that Konami has.
Alright. And Don Dragster. Another negate. 2 negates right there.
So, whoever says that synchros aren't good, stop talking. You don't know what you're saying. Synchros are like some of the best ways to get negations on board, I would say, nowadays. Although the level restrictions are what makes them difficult. You just really have to plan out and make sure you're managing your board well. It's very, very easy to get confused in this deck. There's a lot of, you know, kind of niche interactions that happen with all the different link arrows and the zones and special summoning, and man, this deck is pretty tiring, but it is so much fun, actually, when you were playing.